D-Day happened because Europe was trapped under Nazi control. By 1944, Hitler's army had taken over country after country, including France, and the Allies knew they needed a massive operation to break his grip on the continent. The invasion of Normandy was the opening move to start a full-scale push into Nazi-occupied Europe. The goal was simple but incredibly dangerous. The goal was to land enough troops in France to create a foothold to push the Germans back and begin the liberation of Europe. D-Day wasn't just another battle, it was a turning point that gave the Allies a real chance to defeat Nazi Germany. Planning the D-Day invasion was one of the most complex military operations in history. The Allies spent months preparing every detail from landing zones to weather conditions because of one mistake could mean total failure. To keep the Nazis off guard, the Allies created an entire network deception. They built fake tanks and planes, sent out false radio messages, and even staged a fake army led by General Patton. It was designed to trick Germany into thinking the invasion would happen somewhere else. 1944, the Second World War had reached a critical point. Nazi Germany still controlled most of the Western Europe, and every day that passed made liberation harder. The Allies knew this was the year they had to strike back, the year they had to open a real front against Hitler. In the United States and Britain were running non-stop, producing weapons and vehicles and supplying massive operations. Soldiers trained every day and night preparing for a mission they weren't allowed to discuss. Things building up in 1944 pointed toward one moment, the invasion that would become D-Day, the operation designed to break Nazi power and begin the liberation of Europe. The human cost of D-Day was enormous. On June 6, 1944, thousands of young soldiers stepped into the beach of Normandy knowing they might not make it home. Ages as young as 18 to 20 were drafted. At the end of the day, more than 4,000 Allied troops had been killed and tens of thousands were wounded or missing. The beach was covered with abandoned gear and damaged landing craft.
I was the first man on Omaha Beach. Looked down that beach. The water was red, flapping up against the sand. No telling how many got killed out in that ocean. And there was dead bodies everywhere.
And the heartbreaking signs of how fierce the fighting had been. D-Day was a victory, but it came at a tremendous price. A price paid in lives, courage, and sacrifice. Came one of the biggest turning points of World War II. Before June 6, 1944, Nazi controlled almost all of Western Europe. The Allies had been fighting for years, but they had no way to break into Hitler's heavy defended territory. Everything changed once they secured beaches of Normandy. The Allies had a strong foothold established. They started sending more troops and more tanks, and the Allies started pushing Nazi Germany out of France, and the Allies started securing France. As the Germans started retreating, their power started to collapse west while the Soviet Union pushed in from the east. Hitler's army were now trapped on two sides of the ground faster. And within a year, Hitler was defeated. It didn't end the war instantly, but it set everything in motion. And that gave the world hope. It was the moment the Allies gained the upper hand, the moment the tide of the war finally turned for good. Legacy of D-Day lives long after the guns fell silent. Today the beaches of Normandy look peaceful, but every grain of sand holds a piece of memory and history. And movies like Band of Brothers and Saving Private Ryan show us how those sad conditions were during those times.